One laugh slid down my hallway, and when I opened the bedroom door, I found my boyfriend with a woman next door, my own coworker, shattering our home in a single breath and forcing me to choose between a scene and the truth that would change my job, my address, and the way I trust. Before I dive into all the details of my story, don't forget to subscribe if you love hearing unforgettable life experiences. One sound can redraw a life. For me, it was a laugh I knew too well, sliding down the hallway of my own apartment like light under a closed door, warm, private, not meant for me. I stood there with his favorite takeout cooling in my hands and felt the floor tilt, as if the elevator had started dropping and forgot to warn me. In a breath, I had to choose between bursting in with fire or stepping into colder, clearer air to see exactly what I was standing in. 10 seconds, 10 heartbeats, the kind that decide the next 10 months. If stories like this keep you from feeling alone, stay with me. I'll tell you how I turned the handle, how the room drew smaller, and how I walked back out with my name still mine. I'm in my late 20s, that stretch of years where friends post new keys and soft couches and call them home. I lived with my boyfriend, call him, in a place we picked, because the windows caught the kind of sunset that forgives long gaze. I work in an office where coffee is practically a language and deadlines change the weather. A few months ago, a new hire from my team, let's call her Sa, is hunting for an apartment. By pure chance, the unit next to ours opened up. We were friendly, not close. I texted her the listing because being the helpful person is my reflex. She moved in with boxes labeled a neat black marker and a smile that met everyone. Halfway, the first time M&S met was at a small housewarming. Paper plates, a playlist trying too hard. They said a quick hello, maybe two. If there was a look, it hid under the noise. But afterward, I noticed a small new current in the airquake exchanges in the stairwell, a joke that didn't belong to me, that laughter you can hear through a dry wall and swear you imagined. When I asked him about it, the conversation misted over. You're overthinking, S? She's your coworker. Don't make trouble where there isn't any. Trust issues, babe. Each sentence was a door closing softly, leaving me in the hallway with my gut and a smile that didn't reach my eyes. This week, I had a short work trip, 3 days on paper. One day in reality after the client's plan fell apart. I decided to come home early and be the good kind of surprise. I picked up M's favorite noodles from the place that paints steam on the lid. I let myself in at 8. The living room lamp made a small golden island. From the bedroom came voices, 2 of them close enough to braid. His voice, hers. Movies teach you that people explode in moments like that. My body did the opposite. I went very still, like the floor might crack if I put weight in the wrong place. I walked down the hallway as if it were glass. The door was ajar. I pushed it wider. The curtains closed. Distance disappeared. I won't describe what I saw, not because I'm pretending it didn't happen, but because the mechanics aren't the story. The story is the way the air changed in that room, and then in every other room my life contained. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. The sound I made was smaller than a word. I stepped back, out of the heat, out of the smell of something I didn't want to remember. I set the takeout on the kitchen counter like it belonged to a stranger and walked out. The night hit my face like clean water. I sat in my car with the engine off while the city shrugged and went on. Time widened. If you've ever had your life fold itself in half in a parking lot, you know how a dashboard can look like a cliff. I slept, or tried to, on a friend's couch. The refrigerator hummed like a night shift. In the morning, I made a plan that was simple and heavy. End it. Protect my job, get my body out of the place my heart couldn't stand, let my mind take longer if it needed. I went back during his shift, when I knew he wouldn't be there. The rooms looked like actors waiting off stage. I packed jeans, passport, chargers, the hoodie that remembers your shoulders. I looked at the photos on the shelf, vacations, birthdays, smiles that now felt staged by someone else's hands. I thought about leaving a note and decided silence could be a sentence too. While I zipped the duffel, my phone lit up. "Where are you? Are you okay? Can we talk?" There was no apology in those bubbles, only a hand trying to pat down the smoke. I turned on Do Not Disturb. I locked the door behind me and kept the key in my pocket until I could give it back without shaking. Day 2. Lunch at my desk tasted like paper. On my way to the elevators, I heard my name. Stood there, neat blouse, neat voice, eyes that flickered and tried not to. "We should talk," she said. I braced for sorry. She said she wasn't going to apologize because I made a choice, and she couldn't help how she felt. That sentence scraped something raw inside me and left it bleeding. I held the elevator button like it was a lifeline. "Then you can have him," I said. And because I am a person who has learned to use the systems that exist, I added, "I'm talking to HR. Your job is not your therapist, but it should be your boundary." HR listened. They asked for facts, not feelings, which felt cold and also right. I gave times, dates, what I observed, the power dynamics or lack thereof. They separated our projects. They started a transfer process for us to a different team with a note that we were not to be scheduled together. The office became survivable again, not because anyone took sides, but because someone respected a line I drew. Here's the part I didn't expect. Leaving the apartment didn't make the pain smaller right away. It made the silence louder. My brain replayed the hallway, the low lamp, the breath that wasn't mine. It tried to edit the scene until it hurt less. It failed, so I did the boring, brave things. I signed a lease on a small studio. When the key turned and the door opened to white walls and quiet, something unclenched. I bought a mattress and a soft lamp. I ate noodles from the pot because I hadn't unpacked bowls yet. I opened the window and let a new street teach me its sounds. If any of this sounds like your soundtrack, tap like so the algorithm sends these stories to people sitting in their cars with the engine off, trying to remember how to breathe. And tell me, what would you have done at that door? Announce yourself? Gather proof? Turn around like I did? There isn't one right answer, only the one that lets you keep your own reflection. M called a handful of times. I didn't pick up. He texted words like mistake and one time and let's talk, as if math could fix a map with the wrong coordinates. I blocked him. Dignity sometimes looks like not reading what you can't unknow. Grief arrived in strange outfits. It looked like standing in a supermarket aisle staring at spoons because the apartment didn't have any yet. It looked like sitting on the floor eating toast and realizing the silence didn't hate me. It looked like waking up at 4 a.m. with my heart racing and then remembering there was no race anymore. I kept thinking about gaslighting, that slow drizzle that soaks you before you realize you're wet. When someone tells you your weather is wrong long enough, you start wearing a coat in July. Taking it off felt like stepping into real air and believing my own skin. People asked if I confronted him again, if I needed to hear his side. No. 2 adults made a choice. I made a different one. That didn't evaporate anger. It gave it a job. Pack the next box. Carry it up one more flight. Run farther than yesterday. Learn a recipe that takes so much chopping your brain has to be here and not back there. Let the body process what the mind can't name cleanly yet. Around the 2/3 mark of this chapter, lunchtime felt less like a tightrope. I could answer emails without bracing. And then I saw them. In the parking lot near our old building. They stood close, the way people stand when they've decided to be seen. She looked surprised. He didn't. My pulse rose like a roller coaster taking its first climb. I nodded once, said nothing, and kept walking. Power sometimes looks from the outside like nothing at all. Inside, it was a door locking from my side in the best possible way. If you're still with me, subscribe. I share these in the voice I wish I'd heard when I was sitting in the car true. Careful, not dipped in revenge or shame. HR followed through. S was moved off anything we might share. A transfer is in motion. My manager checked in without prying. I said I was fine even when I wasn't, because fluorescent honesty has limits. I used a few days off to move, to cry, to not move, to breathe. I texted my mother that I was okay. I answered my best friend's calls and let her say the angry words so I didn't have to wear them. Do I blame myself for texting's that listing? I did for a minute. Then a friend on her tiny balcony, legs tucked under a blanket, said, "Decent people don't turn proximity into betrayal." That part isn't on you. She's right. The next door wasn't a trap I set. It was a line they chose to cross. I'm not dating. The cure for heartbreak isn't a new story. It's a quieter room and a mirror you can meet without negotiating. I lift small weights. I go to bed earlier than I used to. I read on the floor because the couch will come later. I answer emails like I don't have to audition for kindness. I let the blinds be crooked for a week and nobody tells me to fix them. One morning I realized I hadn't replayed the hallway in 3 days. The scene exists, but it no longer demands a director's cut. It gets end credits, not a sequel. Before I close, I want to ask you, if you came home a day early and heard what I heard, what would you do? Would you stay to confront or leave to protect your calm? Where do you draw the line between we have problems and you crossed a boundary that can't be repainted? If a coworker or neighbor is involved, do you loop in HR or keep it off the clock? Share your thoughts. Your words might be the lantern someone else needs. As for S, I wish her clarity that doesn't depend on borrowed heat. As for M, I wish him the honesty he kept trying to outsource. As for me, I'm learning the sound of my own apartment at night. The fridge hums more kindly here. The street outside is a softer song. Sometimes a lamp with a warm shade makes my chest tighten for a second, but the feeling passes like a bus I don't need to catch. People treat revenge like a meal that fills you up. It doesn't. It's cotton candy loud, bright, gone. What lasts is a boundary you don't apologize for. What lasts is a door that locks from the inside and a key you don't hand out to anyone who laughs down your hallway. What lasts is choosing your own calm and learning its code. The night I heard those voices, I thought my future had been decided without me. It hadn't. I decided it in the quiet that came after. I chose the truth over the scene, a small studio over a crowded lie, HR over hallway wars, myself over the version of me that needed permission. The city fell silent. The curtains closed. And in that stillness, I learned the sound of a clean beginning.